I'm Dr. Jennifer Upton, family nurse practitioner, and I'm here today with...
I'm Matt Bocek. I'm Jen's brother-in-law and Beth's husband.
So Matt's here today. We're going to talk a little bit about his journey with both hormone replacement and GLP-1s. Everyone's familiar with GLP-1s, which are essentially Ozempic, tirzepatide, Mounjaro, what's the other name? I can't think of the other name right now, but they've been around for 20 years. And most people are familiar with them as far as weight loss right now because of all the hype. Hormone replacement is, I think, also a huge part of the journey. So tell us a little bit about your story.
I am retired military. I was in Iraq from 2004 to 2005. And while I was there in Iraq in 2004, I was injured after an explosion and messed my back up a little bit and had some nerve issues after that. And been dealing with that since I was 23 years old. I'm 43 now, and so it's been a lifelong journey of adapting my life to figure out how to live it with these injuries and the pain that I deal with that on an everyday basis. And so I met Beth about a year ago and started an awakening. She's way more active than I was at the time, and so I wanted to be able to keep up with her. And so taking control of my body again was something that became a priority, and started weight loss there, and then met up with you in about August of last year and started this hormone and weight loss program with you, and it's been great. I'm currently, from the day that I met Beth to now, I'm down 71 pounds.
Congratulations.
And, thank you.
That's
huge. It's been a very long journey is what I tell people, and it's a journey that's going to continue the rest of my life because it is something that I found has been very beneficial for me health-wise, just how I feel, and obviously, you know, the weight that I've kept off. So it's not just about the shot, it's been a lot more to that, which
Sure.
you've been encouraging and dealing with the struggles that could be. So it's been great.
And you weren't new to being active, though, because having a military background, that was something that you have to work out a lot. You were overseas. You were tip of the sword, right in the middle when we were very active fighting.
Yeah.
So to come back and then not be able to be that version of yourself or who you identified as, that had to be a hard transition.
It was very hard. It was, I came back from Iraq not only with physical injuries, but dealing with PTSD and depression, probably depression more than even the PTSD, just because my identity of who I was changed. I mean, went to war as a person and came back physically different, having a baby a month later. And so my life was really different, learning to deal with the pain and what the limitations were to my body. And for the longest time, pain and pain that I couldn't even control, that the VA struggled with controlling. And so it was just a lot of dumping of meds and dumping of more meds, painkillers to make those go away. And that just, again, ruined the identity of who I was. Grew up as a Boy Scout. And so camping, being outdoors, working on cars, all of those things were regular parts of my life, where I couldn't even go to Walmart without being in bed for 3 days. So it was just a different whole lifestyle change that I had to deal with at a young age that really I struggled with a lot. So the depression for me, I think, is really what made me lose who I was and altered my body in its physique and within my everyday life more than even the pain and the injuries itself.
But I think they're all very, very closely related.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
I think that's a huge part of looking at the whole person and how they all feed into each other. And that's why I think there's so much more. Well, I know there's so much more to GLP-1s than just weight loss. Yeah. But just like you know from the injuries, the depression, and I think we often forget to talk about that or recognize that in society, that chronic pain and depression go hand in hand.
Oh, 100%. Changes your life, whether you know it or whether you don't know it. It's the injuries or the physical injuries are a huge aspect of it, but what those physical injuries do to the person itself, emotionally and mentally, I think that plays an even bigger part in even pushing yourself through the physical injury to maintain a physical healthy body working. You just get over it. You get overwhelmed with it hurts instead of figuring out ways to get around it. So it's easier just to do nothing.
which then perpetuates the problem, because then you gain weight and then you lose muscle, which we know that's another huge part to maintaining pain management.
Exactly.
So one of the things that I really love about the GLP-1 peptides, and we'll talk about peptides in another podcast, but is the anti-inflammatory effect. So there are research articles that have been emerging in the benefit of your GLP-1s, not only for anxiety and depression, but for pain and for autoimmune disorders, for the chronic inflammation. And so I think that you're not the only soldier with PTSD that we've worked with before. I hope to have Brian on here at some point too, although there's a lot of components that come into it. It's not just one piece, as you know. But I think the systemic anti-inflammatory component plays a big role. And partially, I'm sure, getting the weight off, because your pain comes from the back as well. And the testosterone plays a role. But can you speak to, is it just the motivation? Is it the pain relief? Tell me what helped motivate you to go on this journey?
Well, like I said, Beth is extremely active. We met online, and her dating profiles were nothing but her outside. Her profile pictures were nothing but her outside climbing mountains and stuff like that. So again, as a young man, even a teenager, that's what I was. That's what I loved to do. Road marching was one of my favorite things to do in the military. 25-mile road marches were very enjoyable.
Those were with the rucksacks, right?
Those are with the rucksacks, yeah. So
is that part of your back pain now?
Well, potentially, yes. Probably, again, you're the biggest guy. You're always carrying the biggest things. But and especially doing it young, you're probably lifting a bunch of things inappropriately and wrong and all that other stuff. But those are my favorite things to do. And so for me to be able to enjoy those things with her, and I found a life partner that I want to do those things with and be around with for a while. And with our sons, I want to be around for that stuff too. And so getting control of my life back is something that she helped me want to do. And it's not just the weight loss and all that stuff, but really loving who I was again. Was all part of that. And so this has really encouraged the process, or the progress in which I've made has really encouraged that process as well. You brought up the anti-inflammatory. I also have an autoimmune disorder. So all of this has been extremely helpful to the inflammation in my joints and knees and my body, and even my hands. My hands are probably some of the most effective things from it. This whole process has helped alleviate that as well. And so I really have taken control of my body and my mind and my spirit with this whole process. So it's been extremely helpful. So
that's incredible. Your story is amazing. You're an incredible success story. I love the journey that I've seen you go on over the last year. It's impressive. But what's really impressive about it is the medicine, as you know, only helps a certain component. It helps all of it, but you still have to make all those other choices. That internal motivation, which you talked about, you were able to find something. So you're like, okay, I'm ready now. I want to take control of my life. But the diet changes, I think the GLP-1 helps enough with the appetite to help you be able to make better choices. I think where people often make mistakes is that you can lose weight on a GLP-1 and still just drink Diet Coke and donuts and not make a significant change internally. But I've seen you make a significant change internally, eating cleaner, getting more protein. And I think that all affects your lifestyle.
I own an erosion control business with my brother, and for the first couple of years, I was out driving 1,000 miles a week. And so I was Dr. Pepper after Dr. Pepper after Dr. Pepper and junk food and junk food and junk food, just to be okay sitting in a car for 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. But that was probably one of the hardest things I've had to learn to give up. And it's, Diet Cokes or Coke Zeros are the way I go now instead of Dr. Peppers, all while Beth gets to enjoy her Dr. Peppers, which isn't very fair. But it was a huge, I'm not going to say that. It was a change, but it's not as hard as you think. It's what you eat and what you put into your body. You think it's going to be difficult to do that, but there's so many more foods that you can eat, and how you put them together and the way you cook them. That process is hard. Feeling like you have to sacrifice everything is something I had to get over, because you don't. It's just in moderation. It's just control. It's not overindulging. And I feel like that's what the shot really did help me do, was understand that when I'm full, I'm full, or right before I'm full. It helped me control how much I was actually putting into my body. And then it was a choice that I'm making what I'm putting into my body. And so if I choose to have a cheat day or choose to have this, I know that there's going to be consequences from it. But the extra protein, I actually enjoy the extra protein that I put in my body now. I find ways to put protein in my body. The foods that I'm eating are foods that have higher protein counts in them. But that was the hardest part for me, was thinking that it was going to be difficult. It's just a choice that you make. And if you want to be successful in this journey, then you have to make hard choices. You have to make different choices. They're not hard. They're just different choices.
And they're little choices over time that become a habit.
And creating that habit, especially with someone like you, meeting Beth at the time that I did, getting to know your family as I have, I wanted to do this for you just as much as I wanted to do it for me. But I've appreciated every step of encouragement that you've given me, that the clinic has given me, the people that work here that have given me. And so it's been easy because of that. It's not just because I'm on a shot or I've changed the way I eat or what I eat. It's the people that I've come in contact while I do it that have been encouraging. So it's been great.
Well, and it's exciting for me. It's exciting for everyone who works on our team, because it's added years to your life. It's added quality to your life. Yeah. And that's huge. Yeah. I think something too that we should mention is that, talking about, you said that you were drinking the Dr. Peppers and eating the fast food because you were doing all these hours in the car, and you were doing it just to get through. I think that's an important piece too, because you're dealing with the depression and all of the restrictions that you can't do the things that you see other people do or that you used to do. And there's a serotonin hit too that we get from having a little bit of junk food or having that food item. And so switching where you get that serotonin hit or changing the way you think.
Finding that happiness somewhere else.
Yeah, and exactly. Again, I think that's really big too.
I find that happiness just as much now, 70 pounds down, hiking through trails with Beth, than I do eating a cupcake, even though I can still enjoy a cupcake.
But in moderation,
in moderation, I enjoy being able to do that more than that, and it brings me more happiness than any sweet treat will ever do.
I think I love our InBody. I have to mention our InBody, and I have loved how excited you get over the InBody.
I love how excited I get about good results. There's days that I wish that you tell me all the time, don't do it every week. Just it fluctuates by itself, but I get discouraged sometimes when I haven't lost as much as I want, or my muscle mass goes down by 0.2 or something like that, and I go, I didn't even up protein this week. But it's a process. It's a lifelong, ever-changing process. I do love seeing the results, and I'm on a group message with my son and some of his friends about it, and we talk trash to each other about whose scores are what and what.
I love it. That's
the
awesome.
Process of them taking that serious as well, or them starting that journey for themselves, whether they're taking it super serious now. Again, they're very young, but the process of that being a normal thing for them is taking control of their life now, and not letting it get out of control is a good thing. Whether it takes for them now or not, I don't know, but it's a good thing. So it's cool that we can, something that we can talk about with our children and stuff like that. So
yeah, I love it. Planting seeds for a healthier future for them. Yeah. I think one more piece I wanted to bring up is because because of the pain and what you went through, you weren't able to work out at the same level that you did before. Yeah. And we know with back pain, chronic pain, muscle mass is huge. It's huge for hormone support. It's huge for structural support and just feeling better, like having enough strength. Yeah. But if you talk to bodybuilders and if you look into it, they will often say that 90% of it is diet. And so getting that protein in is a really huge component. And I think you've been able to see that on the InBody. You're still not able to necessarily go to the gym and do heavy lifting.
No, I don't go to the gym. I don't have time to go to the gym. The lifting that I do at work is sporadic and far between, simply because I still have those back pains and stuff like that. And I have a crew of 9 to do those things for me now. But I don't go to the gym a lot, and I've gained 11% in my muscle mass just in the protein changes. So it's been great.
Yeah, and that alone is helping support your back and all of that. And that's been diet, the changes you've made, your hormone replacement, and
all the hiking.
Yeah,
so.
That's incredible. All right.
It really has been good and easier than I thought, but still, it's something that you got to keep up with and make that life change. So it's good.
Good. Well, Matthew, thank you for sharing your story with us. I appreciate you being here today.
I appreciate you, Jen, and everything that the clinic's done for me. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. And if you have any comments, drop them down below.